Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we have the top two Democratic and Republican contenders that could be the most electable versus each other. So we have Senator Bernie Sanders from the state of Vermont on the Democratic side, clearly the one who was polling best out of the Democrats in general, and John Kasich, who was also polling the best statewide compared to like Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz in the 2016 primary, and he's probably the most electable. If Donald Trump was underestimated, John Kasich was most definitely underestimated as well, and he was polling a lot better than Donald Trump was against Hillary Clinton, and if we saw a net swing that we saw in 2016, John Kasich probably would have won in a landslide victory. That probably wouldn't have happened, but just based off the trend, that's how it could have gone. But today we have Senator Sanders and Governor Kasich from Ohio. So we're going to see how this would turn out. So a couple states are never going to change. Of course, the West Coast. Actually, I'm not going to fill in the West Coast first. We're going to start this off a little bit different. We're going to do it by poll closings like I've done in a few previous videos. So Kentucky, Indiana, South Carolina, pretty much solid for John Kasich. Vermont, blue. Virginia would go to Bernie Sanders. I really don't see John Kasich carrying that. But Kasich is more closely related to Mitt Romney, more of a moderate. I see him carrying Georgia, as previous Republicans have, where Donald Trump had a little struggle of carrying that state. And then we move on to the 7:30 poll closings. Pretty much West Virginia, North Carolina, and Ohio all go to John Kasich, pretty much because he's from Ohio, and North Carolina goes with the typical type conservative and even went for Donald Trump. And now we move on to the 8 o'clock poll closing. So pretty much up across the Northeast. We don't fill in New York yet. But yeah, so pretty much up across the Northeast. We see a Sanders victory. I don't think Kasich would carry North Carolina or Maine. But he would carry Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, Mississippi, and Missouri and Oklahoma. And now we're going, actually, Illinois goes to Bernie Sanders. And then we move on to the 8:30 p.m. poll closings, which is Arkansas going to John Kasich. And now, Pennsylvania was part of 8 p.m., so I need to cover that one as well. Pennsylvania would go to Bernie Sanders. I don't think John Kasich is strong enough to overcome the Sanders-type appeal in a state like Pennsylvania. He could possibly do it in, another state like Iowa, or he pretty much doesn't really have that strong of a reach to the Rust Belt. Sure, he's from there, but Bernie Sanders definitely holds on to those Democratic voters that weren't going to go for anyone else except for Donald Trump. But 131 electoral votes for Kasich, 116 for Bernie Sanders. So where can Bernie Sanders expand his lead? Expand and take the lead. So first of all, up across the United States, Bernie Sanders probably wouldn't carry a number of these races, but over in Nebraska, I see Bernie Sanders carrying the 2nd congressional district, effectively giving him one electoral vote from Nebraska. I see John Kasich holding on to Arizona for the GOP. And then when we go over to these states, Colorado, New Mexico, I see Bernie Sanders carrying them. He clearly would carry New York. He would carry pretty much all of the Rust Belt, which is pretty stereotypical for almost every Democrat except for someone like Hillary Clinton. Down in Florida, we'll come back to that one. That one I think is a pure toss-up. Iowa, I see going to Bernie Sanders. I think his Midwestern appeal is a little bit better than John Kasich, but he definitely is going to have Sanders would have his run for his money in Iowa. And then we move on to 10 p.m., which is what I just filled in for Iowa. Montana and Utah still go to John Kasich. Over in Nevada, I see Bernie Sanders carrying it pretty solid for the Democrats with someone like Bernie Sanders on the ticket. And then Idaho goes to the GOP in the 11 p.m. poll closings. Washington goes for the Dems. Oregon goes to the Democrats. Hawaii goes for the Democrats. And effectively, Bernie Sanders becomes the next president with 286 electoral votes. And then John Kasich carries Alaska. I pretty much see him carrying a state like Alaska. And Florida, which is an ultimate toss-up. I see John Kasich narrowly carrying the state of Florida super slightly, but it's not going to be like a landslide for Bernie Sanders or John Kasich regardless of this electoral map. Pretty much all the margins were within, 252 for John Kasich to possibly like 286 for John Kasich, just within around like 40 electoral votes of each other or 30. And pretty much Florida would go to John Kasich. I think his appeal would just be a tad bit better, considering John Kasich and Bernie Sanders both lost the Florida primary. It doesn't look so, you can't really tell based off the primary results, but I just think John Kasich would narrowly edge it out. I know this map looks a little bit weird with Iowa blue and Florida and Ohio red, but that's just how this map turned out. So final electoral map, 286 for Bernie Sanders, 252 for John Kasich. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below and comment down if you want me to do another video for today. I know it's like 9 p.m., so I don't know if you guys want me to, but if you do, comment down ideas for that or for future videos because, again, that'd be very much Very helpful. So again, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow.